Dun dun dun, back again. I got a lot of comments from you in my last video using the DJI Action 5 Pro as a studio camera. I set it up, tested it between that and my main camera, and tried to get the same angles, the same settings, and see if it would work for a studio camera. If you have a home studio, could you use this little action camera for that? Got a lot of comments on that. Not truly a low light example. Do it without the light from the window. See what it looks like just using your key light. It would look impeccable if you do not have that overexposed window light to your right. Obviously, the window light is giving backfill light, so we'll eliminate the light from the window and see what happens. And also got one saying, I know the Action 5 Pro has some sort of night mode on it. It does now have the option for night mode on the Action 5 Pro. What would the results be using night mode? So let's figure out if this camera works more for low light situations where we only have a key light right here and not that blasting light. Now I know it wasn't a low light test, it was just how I had my studio set up, and I wanted to see if it would work for a studio camera. I also didn't use the night mode feature that this Action 5 Pro has now, but what would it look like if I did? You wanted to know, so let's find out. So I'm going to test this again. I don't know if it's quite dark enough. Now I don't have a light meter to see how much light is in the room, but I can check the exposure meter on the camera, see what that is looking like. Get my camera set up here again. I'll just set up my main key light here. Set everything back up. Get this to be the same frame. I will have to redo my settings because I mainly use this camera for outdoor types of footage. So we're going with 4K, 16:9, 24 frames a second. Gonna change my, that's on Rocksteady Horizon balancing. Put that on the standard field of view. So we're getting down around 17 millimeters, and it's going to keep the camera image steady for us. So that's all good. And check my shutter speed. I want this to be, we're going manual here, 24 frames a second, so be 50, 48, 50. The ISO, again, I'm going to keep that a lot lower so I don't get a lot of noise and grain in the image. I think I had it at 100 to 1600. Also with this, I'm going to change my color. I think I had it in normal 8-bit last video. We'll do normal 8-bit and we'll also do 10-bit. So this is going to be the 8-bit test. Try to get this view about the same. That I've got a 1.3 zoom. Alright, so 4K 24 frames a second. This is 4K 24 frames a second using that 180-degree shutter rule. So I've got this camera set in manual mode. I've got my ISO range from 100 to 1600. And this is kind of what it looks like. Oh, one more tip. I had some backlighting there. I also had some backlighting in there as well. So that is kind of what it looks like. All we've blocked off the window. It's really dark in here. We've just got this key light right here. And this is manual settings on the Action 5 Pro. So this is kind of what you can expect. I'm going to switch this camera over. We're going to go to, we're on 8-bit. I'm going to change my color profile to the D-Log M 10-bit. Alright, this is in D-Log M 10-bit. This is what it looks like. This is kind of what you're going to get with this setup. We've got one key light here. We've eliminated a big backlight over there. We've just got a little bit of backlight in these nice orange, reddish, kind of glowing lights in the background. So that's kind of what this looks like. 10-bit. And let's switch back to 8-bit, see what that looks like. Now we're back in 8-bit. I think the 10-bit is going to give you a little bit better color range for editing and stuff. So if you're doing studio work. So yeah, I think D-Log M 10-bit is going to be your best option for using this as a studio camera because it's going to get the highlights and the shadows, and you'll be able to color grade all of that, adjust those levels to get your own personal style in your videos. So that's what it looks like in my normal manual settings using D-Log M 10-bit. So hopefully this is more of a compare. I mean, I compared this in the last video to my main studio camera versus this camera. I had them both running, so you could kind of see the difference. You're gonna get a lot more clarity and sharpness from a professional lens. Just getting that background separation and bokeh blur from a professional lens, it's gonna be a much better look than an action camera. Now, an action camera is gonna get you a lot more in focus. Everything's gonna be crisp and sharp, so you could put on a mask and kind of mask yourself out, keep that part sharp, and then kind of blur the edges if you wanted to, like this. And then all that around you would be a little more blurry and you would stay a little more crisp and sharp. So let's switch this over to auto settings and see what that'll do. We're gonna switch this over to auto, put our auto exposure on here. I do want to keep this at probably a little higher range, put this up to 100 to 3200 on my ISO. I'm gonna go back to normal 8-bit and let's adjust this to 4K 30, and we're still horizon balancing, still at standard dewarp 4K 16:9. We've got normal color 8-bit, see what that looks like. Alright, this is in auto settings. We're just at 4K 30. Our shutter speed is 1/100 and higher. So we've got a varying shutter speed. It's not manual controls. Everything else is auto. We still have horizon balancing on, so we get a little bit more punched in picture. So this is auto on the DJI Action 5. I also want to test out night mode. So let me know what you think this auto setting looks like. Let me know how it looks. Everything's gonna be sharp again. You could throw on that mask, get your blurred edges on there, maybe a little bit of a vignette. I don't know if you need that in such a dark. You've got dark edges. So let's switch over to night mode, and with night mode, you're probably gonna get a little more grain in the image. You just gotta keep that in mind in darker situations with that night mode on. You are gonna get a little more of a grainy image because it's gonna be pumping that ISO a lot more. So let's switch it up. All right, I'm just gonna switch this to SuperNight and go ahead and put this on rock steady and standard. You don't get horizon balance in SuperNight mode. We're at 24 frames a second with 50 shutter speed and over 50. I keep my EV negative 0.3 just to keep the highlights a little bit out. And ISO is set between 100 to 51,200. Just gonna leave my stabilization setting there. If you wanna know more about those, I just recently did a video, check it out. Daily mode versus sport mode on the stabilization settings. Also with night mode, you can't do the digital crop, digital zoom, so we're gonna have to move our camera in slightly. All right, I had to move the camera in a little bit because we don't have horizon balance and we don't get that digital zoom to crop in, so you're gonna get a little bit wider field of view with night mode, and you're also going to be pumping your ISO up a whole lot more. So this is Super Night mode on the DJI Action 5 Pro. Let me know what you guys think about using this camera as a studio camera. It's obviously giving a lot more light in the shadows. It's pumping that ISO up a bit more. The image quality is probably not going to be quite as good as if you would set this into manual settings and adjust your shutter speed and all that manually. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Alright, I switched back. These are the exact same settings I have on my main studio camera back there. 24 frames a second, 1/50 shutter speed, 4K. We've got our ISO range set very low so we don't get too much grain in our footage. So I hope this answers the question for you. If you can use this for a studio camera, this is more of a low light test. If you have a home studio and all you had was this little Action 5 Pro, I think you could get some good results even with just one main key light. Let me know your thoughts and any improvements you think I can make in the comments down below about the different tests we did with this DJI Action 5 Pro. See you in this video next.